we're really focused on around goals and really making sure we're clear on what we want 23 to look like. And I want to dive a little bit deeper. I'm going to take you guys through, it's the personal action plan. It's the plan that we've used, forever and really, breaking it apart in the simplest of forms over the years. And it's the one that we always make our team members go through. And then as we've talked in the previous months, a couple months ago, we talked strategy and we talked the personal, the one-page strategic plan. And where we've got to really start, obviously, is a little bit bigger picture, but we also need to be clear on the financial goals, right? The financial targets that we have for our business, and really looking at, okay, what am I willing to commit to? And this is what this exercise is really all about, because we've got to get clear on what that revenue goal is. What is our average sales price, average commission? Where's the business going to come from? Buy, sell, reverse engineer out to, okay, well, how many units does that equal? And it's the one thing, right? I was just on a call prior to this and said, don't give me your vanity and volume, because I don't care about that, right? And when somebody starts spitting volume to me, it goes on deaf ears, because that doesn't mean anything to me. What I want to know is what's the total amount of revenue in how many units? Because when I know those two things, then I know what your problems are. You can give me, this just like I was saying, somebody's volume at 1% versus, somebody's less than half at 3%. And it's just a different story. And so, I know if you're doing that amount of volume at 1%, I know you got some problems, and you got different problems than the person that's less than half doing it at 3%. So that's really, so I just preface that for all of you out there. Don't get caught up in the volume. That doesn't mean anything. What means everything is your revenue, your profitability, and number of units to be able to get to that point. So it's really where I want to focus. Little quick recap from last week. We went through and really started to think through our really think through kind of that start, stop, and keep doing. And, sometimes to our advantage is the ability to stop doing something if we want to be able to grow. So that was kind of the homework for all of you. And we had our quarterly kitchen table event at the end of last week in OKC. And, this is part of the process. I mean, we spent time the first morning with everybody in attendance kind of going through this, right? Really going through, hey, what are you doing that you need to stop doing? What are you doing that you need to keep doing? And what are you not doing that you need to start? And then really also starting to look at kind of your strengths and weaknesses, and really what is that SWOT for your business, but what is also the SWOT personally. And so that was the homework from last week. If you guys did not do that, you've got to go through those exercises, because it helps you gain that sense of clarity, right? Of like, man, I'm doing a bunch of stuff and I know I need to stop doing this. This is just not working. I'm not getting the return on it. And it's not going to help me when I look at these goals here in a second. It's not going to help me get to where I want to be in 23, and making sure that what we do in 23 is building for 24 and 25. That was the other thing that we talked about last week on this call. It's what we talked about last week at KT. We zoom out a little bit further, as, challenging them to think through, where they want to be at the end of the decade. And then where do we need to be at the end of 25? And where do we need to be in 23 in order for that stuff to start to be true? And, one of the questions, the relationship question, the Dan Sullivan relationship question is, think through, right? Through 25 to 3 years, right? What has to happen personally and professionally for you to feel happy about your progress? Like, really put some thought into that. Like, what do you want this to be? Remember, it's a creative world, and you get to design and create this for whatever the heck you want it to be. And so it starts there. It starts really trying to uncover and be truthful with yourself. Well, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? because what we're trying to solve is, and what we're talking about 23 to 25 to the end of the decade, those are our desires. Those are the things we're excited about. Those are our opportunities. And then on the other side of the equation is that, what are our fears? What are our challenges? What are our obstacles that we have in our way of 23 happening the way we want it to happen, 20 all the way to 25 into the end of the decade? And the little magic sauce is, okay, well, how can we leverage our strengths to overcome our challenges and get us close to our goals and our desires? That's why it's important to do that work first. And that way we have kind of in our mind as we're working through this, and sometimes it might be, oh, that's it, or that's like, man, I don't know how I'm going to get there. Now you can lean back in on, well, I can got this strength that I can lean on to get me there. So this is a cool, simple little action plan. Like I said, I mean, we've been utilizing a form of this and working through this for 20 years. And it's still the same old simple, just working our way, through and getting real clear. And then I can look and say, okay, that's something I'm willing to commit to. That's something I'm willing to commit to, or not. And if not, then I need to make those adjustments. So homework is definitely going to be really getting down, right? How many units do you need to have in the next 12 months to hit your income goal? What is your income goal? And what's the percentage of your business going to come from sellers? What is the percentage going to come from buyers? And if you have another format, another spreadsheet, another tool, if your team lead or somebody you're working with or a mentor has something else, utilize it. It doesn't matter, right? Like, you could get a Big Chief tablet and a Husky pencil, and I don't care, scratch it out. Just get down to the numbers. What is every transaction worth to you after your company? If you're on a team, what is the actual dollar amount per deal on average? How many deals do you need to do? And then what are all the ways we're going to get there with our deals? And that's really where I want you guys to get. And is that something that you can absolutely commit to? Is that something you can commit to is the biggest thing. And if it's not, then you better figure out what it is that you will commit to. And so that's my challenge to you guys. That's my challenge to you guys this week. Right. I know we had a little back homework from last week. If you didn't do it, get into that stop, start, keep doing, and, strengths and weaknesses. And then, what is our revenue goal? How many units based upon our assumptions is going to take for us to get there? How many listings, how many buyers? And then leveraging our strengths, the things that we're doing that we need to keep doing. What are all the ways that we're going to get there? How are we going to accomplish that? We're all probably, if we're just now starting to set these targets, we're probably a little behind heading into, because, as you know very well, the activity that we were probably doing 30, 45 days ago will start to translate to this revenue number in 23.
Absolutely. And this is a simple exercise, yet so many people don't really take the time to do it. And, it's very eye-opening in that you think about it, it doesn't take as much effort as you think to get where you're going when you know your numbers.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just it's that whole KPI thing, right? To take 3 listings, maybe you need to meet with 5 people, and to meet with five people, you need to, maybe have, 7 or 8 appointments, and then you need to set 10, you need to have 25 conversations, right? So it really boils down, and then it's like, okay, well, really? That means I need a conversation a day to be able to hit my target. Yes, that's what that means. And so what are you doing every day to hit that number? And, that's what we talk about. What is within your control that's going to help you get new business to hit your goal that you have set for yourself? And it's just really building those habits, but knowing what direction we're moving in. And most of the time, it was, I laugh because I hear it all the time, but even at boot camp on Monday, helping people work through this exercise, I had a few people that go, that's it. That's all I've got to do. And I'm like, yeah, that's all you got to do. Now here's the hard part, right? What do you got to do daily in order for that to be true? And let's take it that next step. But this is the first step, making sure that we're clear on the revenue goal. We're clear on what it's going to take for that to happen.